Welcome back to the Pew Review. What I have for you today is actually a follow-up video, and I can't believe that it's been a year, but it's a follow-up video from a year ago of my lever action from Gforce arms. This is the Lever 357. The video that I posted a year ago, I just kind of posted randomly because I thought this was a cool gun, and it actually did pretty well. So I thought, you know what? I kind of left some things hanging. I didn't ever do a follow-up video or an update. So I'm going to do a video here. It'll be short, but it'll be sweet. So again, this is the Gforce arms Lever 357. It is a 16-inch with a threaded barrel, and it holds 8 round capacity in this tube-fed magazine here on the bottom. It has a Picatinny rail, which I have a Surefire flashlight attached to. Some people might think that looks ridiculous, but I will tell you it has been very useful. This has been my chicken defender. I have shot multiple predators trying to get into our chicken coop and even actively eating a chicken. So this gun has been right by my bedside defending this household and our chickens. So a lot of time behind it now. It's been a year. We've shot, I mean, I can't even think how many rounds through it for just plinking and a lever action. I've ordered a couple of cases of 357 and multiple cases of 38 Special since I've got this gun, if that tells you anything. So, you know, definitely not the capacity that I would shoot some of my competition guns. We're not talking thousands of rounds, but, you know, we're probably talking 800 rounds through this gun so far. So I feel like I've got enough time behind it that I can do a little update and let you guys kind of know more of what I feel and some of the issues that we were having, what rectified those issues. And in addition, finally got my suppressor for it. So we're going to shoot it a little bit suppressed as well, showing the difference in shooting a 38 Special as opposed to the 357 Magnum, which the gun is chambered in. So for those of you that don't know, if a gun is chambered in 357 Magnum, you can shoot 38 Special through it, and it actually acts as a subsonic round, which makes shooting this thing suppressed an absolute blast. So let's dive into it and let's check this out and get some rounds down range. So as stated, we have some 357 Magnum and some 38 Special. I'm going to bring these in close and show you there's really not a large difference between them. But what you can see, the case on the 357, which is on my left here, the actual brass case is a little bit longer than the 38 Special. And so that is why I was having some of the feed issues when I was shooting 38 Special, because during my first review, that's pretty much all I shot was a 38 Special. They are obviously much more fun to shoot since they are subsonic, so that's mostly what I was shooting. But that was leading to some issues, which would be the last round when it came to the end of the tube. Basically the tube follower, trying to think of what the term would be, but the catch wasn't catching this last round, and so it was ejecting out as you were ejecting the second to last shot brass. So what I have found now that I'm shooting more 357 out of it is that it does not do that with a 357. So it was an ammunition issue. Obviously the gun was designed around the 357. It is a 357. And so that is why the 38 Special was having that issue. Again, it was only an issue on that second to last and last round. So not a large issue. It's not been anything that I've done anything major with, but I'm going to shoot one of each of these right off the bat, let you hear the difference in them unsuppressed, and then that'll give me the 2 brass cases that I can then show you the difference. So the first one in the gun is already a 38 Special. So I'm going to put a 357 right behind it and turn my red dot on. I put a new red dot on it just to test a new red dot out. I had a Vortex Defender on there, which I loved. This is a Gideon optic, and I'm just kind of doing some testing with it, which is why it's on the gun. But again, I'm gonna put a couple rounds down here. So that was the 38, and if I'm being honest, 38's not very loud. 357's gonna be a little louder. Never shoot without protection, guys. So get this second round here. Here's the 357. So it was much quieter with those, by the way. So I don't know if you heard the difference, but now I'm going to pick up those 2 brass that I ejected, and that one's a 357. And I'm gonna find the 38 Special here. I might stop the video so you don't see me looking around for this for a minute. Okay, so I found both of them. So what I'm gonna show you here is that is the 38 Special, and that is the 357. I'm gonna line up the bottom of the case there. So the one on the right, 357, is only about a 1/4 inch longer, but that 1/4 inch seems to be enough of a difference for the feed reliability as far as it staying in until it goes in the chamber, as opposed to popping out the top when it goes to load on that last round. So little more pressure behind the 357. You can see the case kind of bulged there. Part of that might be stretching from me ejecting it. One thing I will say is I did have some issues because I mostly shoot 38 Special out of it. I had some issues where one of these actually broke off and left the front half of the case when it pulled out, because there was a carbon ring basically right where the 38 Special case ends. There was a carbon ring left, and it actually kind of cut the front of that case. So when it pulled out, it left that up there, and then it wouldn't chamber the next round. So if you are going to switch between these two calibers, I highly recommend cleaning the bore and chamber very well before switching back to 357. So let's get some more rounds downrange with this. Guys, what is that? That is the 46M suppressor. It's the 46M hybrid from Silencer Co. So this is a 46 caliber can, and it is a multi-caliber, and it is being the hybrid, it has a lot of different options. So you can actually take this top half off and shorten the can by putting the end cap here. You can change the base to all the different mounting plates. This is kind of designed to be like a one can fits all. That's not what I use it for necessarily, but anything larger than 30 cal, I'm using this suppressor for currently. And then 30 cal, I have a dedicated can, and 22 I have a dedicated can. So let's go ahead and throw this on there. Again, this thing already is threaded. So I put a direct thread fitting on the bottom of this can, and it will thread directly on there. It has just long enough of a magazine tube on the bottom of this thing that the suppressor clears it, but it is close. I'm going to show you that real quick. So you couldn't add any longer of a magazine on this thing without losing the ability to put a direct thread can on there. So the top two rounds are going to be 357, so they should be a little louder, but with the suppressor on it, they shouldn't be too loud. So I'm going to try to get toward, maybe you can see this, and hopefully you can hear it okay. But again, 357, and I'll just shoot at these plate rack. Second round, 357. All right, third round, 38. Fourth round, 38. All right, I even hit every plate, look at that. All right, so I noticed a little bit of a difference, not sure how well the microphone picked it up. Let me put one more 357 in there. I'll just throw it on the top here, load it that way. Let's see what it sounds like here. On some steel. All right, throw some 38 Special back in there, and whoop. You know, clearly it does not like that. So again, I had this problem before, so I just said it before I did it, but you have to clean that chamber and that bore when switching between, and I have not done that, and here's what happens. So ripped case. I have a stuck case in the chamber and now around trying to go in there. I'm gonna have to pry out, and then I have to clean that bore real well and get that stuck case out. So that will unfortunately stop me from finishing this video currently. And I called it and said that I should have cleaned that bore, and I definitely should have. So if you're switching between calibers, number one most important thing, clean the chamber, clean the bore, and make sure that you have everything to where there's not a carbon ring to where that case gets cut and ripped into there. So that's gonna stop my video for the day. I will go clean this up. Maybe I can try to get this finished today still, but as of right now, I've got a stuck case. I almost exclusively shoot 38 Special out of this gun, and doing so, I should have cleaned that up before I put back to 357. I was trying to do this test just kind of cycling between the two, and I didn't take the time to clean that out, so I will pay for that. So hopefully I get this video finished off. At least you got a few shots before I got that case stuck in there, so you can kind of compare the two different rounds and compare the gun. This is only the second time that this has happened to me, but I was able to diagnose and figure out exactly why it was, because once I got the case out, you could literally see where the case cut. At first I thought it was probably the ammunition. These are some cheaper 357 that I bought, but after talking to somebody, this is brand new cases, it's not like the reloads. So after talking to someone, they basically told me, hey, because you're shooting 38 special, you're creating a carbon ring, and it's gonna break the next case of 357 when it stretches into that chamber. And that's exactly what just happened. So I've got a case in there, and a live round that I tried putting in the chamber after that. So let's get this cleared off, and hopefully I can follow up and do another video. All right, didn't want to leave you hanging. So I was able to go force this stuck broken case out of the chamber. Show you that real quick. So I pushed that out of the chamber, and just so if this ever happens to anyone, just so you know kind of what I found to be the easiest way. I was trying to find that broken one. What I found to be the easiest way, because the first time this happened to me, I spent admittedly way too long trying to get this out from the chamber side. And I mean, I probably spent 2 hours fighting with this thing, trying to take it out of there without damaging anything. And then I can't remember if I found it online or someone recommended it to me, but what I was able to do is I actually took the cleaning rod with a 357 brush through the barrel down through the bore side, and when it got down towards the chamber, I just spun it as I pushed the whole way down, but it popped right out. So this time I had this thing out in 2 minutes. Went up to my workbench, pushed that right out, went ahead and cleaned the bore while I was at it. Thought to myself, you know, this has happened to me twice. I assume it's because of that carbon ring, because you can see it on the case where it kind of oversized jumped there compared to the rest of the case. But it always has been the same exact ammunition, because I ordered like a 500 round pack of this Ammo Inc. 357. It's got Barnes brass. As far as I know, it's not reloads. It looks to be brand new. Literally, there's no signs that this is a reloaded case. It looks like they buy the brass from Barnes and that they load their own load in it. But I thought to myself, you know, it's possible it could be the ammo. Maybe it's loaded too hot. Maybe it's a brass issue. So with a clean bore, I'm gonna put a few rounds through it, and then I'll switch to 38 Super and, or 38 Special, sorry. And once I switch to 38 Special, I'm gonna just shoot 38 Special so that we don't do this again until I clean the bore in between, because again, the only times I've had this issue is if I'm mixing between 38 Special and 357, and when I've shot a lot of 38 Special and then went back to 357. So I'm gonna start with 357. I'm gonna shoot, you know, the rest of what I have here of 357, which is about 10 rounds. So I'll shoot all of those, and then from there, I'll switch back to 38 Special and continue with this review. We'll go from there. So I've got 8 rounds loaded up, because again, that's the capacity on this thing. So I'll put some rounds down range here. This is 357, and let's see, maybe we can get through it without a stuck case this time. Woo! I don't know if you ever shot Firebirds, but those are fun. A little smokier than I expected. All right, so does not appear to be the ammunition. It cycled every one of those just fine. Again, when I've shot the 357 through it, it does not kick out the last round. It actually shoots every one of them. So I was just looking to see, make sure my count was right. But yeah, so it cycled every one of the 357, I'm gonna switch to the 38 Special, and again, the 38 Special, when I get to the last round, sometimes it kicks the last round out of the loading port there as it kicks the spent brass out. And because of the size difference of the case, and then, you know, that basically the little neck area is a little slimmer there because of the not having the brass there is why I believe that's happening. So we'll shoot some 38 Special out of it now. I think I've got a few more 357. I might shoot through it just to get them out of here, so I'm not going back to the 357 after all the 38 Special has been shot through it. So I'll load a few up here, finish those off. We'll switch to 38 Super. 38 Special, sorry. Sorry, I'm very distracted. I think an osprey just flew over, which is really cool. So anyways, I have 3 of the 357s loaded up, and then followed by 5 of the 38 Specials. I've got a flasher at about 100 yards, or not a flasher, sorry, a swinger spinner target here at 100 yards. So I'm gonna shoot it for the first 3, and then maybe we'll switch it up, something for the 38 Specials. These actually moved that pretty good. So much quieter. Wow. And it actually is moving the spinner pretty good for those subs. But man, shooting at a distance like that really shows the difference in the sound on this thing. All right. That was cool because you could really tell a dramatic sound difference from the 357s compared to the 38 Specials when I shot at about 100 yards at that spinner target. I'm not sure if you can even see that target. I'll kind of zoom in. So what that does is you shoot top and then bottom and then kind of get that thing to spin over. I was shooting that bottom plate over and over again. It's at 100 yards, and that was kind of cool because I was able to get a really good sound difference between the subs and basically what are the supers with the 357. So I'm going to shoot a couple not on steel so you can really hear the difference on this thing suppressed, because, you know, hopefully the microphone's picking up how quiet this is. In fact, I'm going to take the microphone off of me because I know there's a lot of noise that happens. I may have just lost my magnet. All right, I'll pause the video. Oh, found it. Okay. So anyways, I'm gonna set that on the table because I know there's a lot of noise that happens with me shuffling around trying to load this thing. So hopefully this can show you, just shooting into my berm there, how quiet this round really is. So let's see if that picked it up. It's also good to note that once I did clean that chamber and shot just 357 out of it, I had no issues. It did not have the issue where it ejected the last round. It actually didn't do that to me at all today, even with the 38 Specials, but it especially didn't do it with the 357s. I've actually never had it do that to the 357s. I have had twice where the case gets stuck on that carbon ring from mostly shooting 38 Specials and then switching back to 357. So again, if you're gonna do this, and if you're gonna shoot 38 Specials out of it, which is what I enjoy doing the most, clean that bore in the chamber very thoroughly before you switch back to the 357s. It's very important. It'll keep you from getting the stuck case. Again, if you do get a stuck case, I do recommend the bore brush on a completely empty gun, obviously. The bore brush down the chamber with a spinning motion, it'll help drive that thing out easily. Took me 2 minutes. So again, this is a blast. 38 Specials out of the 357 lever from Gforce Arms. If you're gonna shoot 357s out of it, that's fun as well. They're not quite as quiet, and it's just not quite as fun to shoot. I mean, there's just nothing like shooting suppressed subsonic, man. That is literally one of my favorite things to do. So this is a cool gun. I'm very happy that I made the purchase, and I think that I would recommend it to anyone that's looking for something like this. I know lever actions aren't for anybody. They hold a special place in my heart. They're one of the kind of traditional and nostalgic guns. It's kind of what got me into shooting when I was young. My dad had mostly revolvers and lever actions. I didn't take as much interest into the revolvers, but I love the lever actions. So it's a really cool one from Gforce Arms, and we're excited to do the review today. In conclusion, this has been a heck of a gun. I very much enjoy shooting it. It has been very versatile and very useful. I really bought it, honestly, as like a range toy. I thought, you know, it's a cool lever action. Tactical lever actions are kind of a trend currently. This was sub $800 for this rifle. So it was easy to get into, a lot easier than some of like the good expensive, like, you know, Ranger Point Precision makes awesome ones. I know Mad Pig Customs has done some really cool builds, Chisel Machining, you know, to name a few of the really good lever action makers. But for getting into it for a, you know, basically a budget build, this has done everything that I want it and need it to do. Again, I've used this thing to shoot predators out of our backyard where our chicken coop is. I've used it at night just for plinking around. I had my Infotech thermal on here for a while and would shoot things at night. So it has been a cool, versatile gun. Speaking of the Infotech, I've got about 6 months since the last video on it, so maybe it'll be the next one coming up. It'll come up soon. I'm gonna try to get a secondary review on it. But this 357, some people call it the Huckleberry. It's the HugTech model lever 357 from Gforce Arms. Has been a great gun, very worth the money in my opinion. Fun to shoot, very versatile. You put a suppressor on the end of it, which it's already threaded from the factory, so easy. Throw a suppressor on the end of it, shoot some 38 supers out of it, or 38 specials. I keep saying 38 supers because I'm so used to that caliber in the competition world. Anyways, 38 specials from Fiocchi is what I'm shooting out of it. These are 950 feet per second. Coming out of this gun, they're very quiet and they hit pretty hard because I was shooting my spinner target at 100 yards, and I can tell you that it put a good move on it, quite a bit more than when I'm shooting like 9mm from very up close. Probably almost as much as when I'm shooting my 77 grain 223 from this distance, which is what I usually shoot on a spinner target like that, would be 9mm and 223. So this put a pretty good spin on it. 130 grain, 950 feet per second. I can tell you that they're very effective as well for predators, and man, it's just a blast to shoot. No hearing protection needed when you have a suppressor like this shooting subsonics. Again, always use protection when you're not shooting subsonic suppressed, and always wear eye protection when shooting steel. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for enjoying the video, and see you on the range.